Hello. Happy Monday. So I survived the haunting of Fox Hollow Farms. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it is 6 o'clock on Sunday, and I am driving to my mother-in-law's for it's hot in here. It is like really weird outside. It's like, it looks like October, but it feels like late August. I'm going to my mother-in-law's. My brother-in-law is cooking out. So we're going over for that, but unfortunately, I have my meeting tonight, and I have like a meeting before a meeting. So I have to leave at like 7:30, 7:45 to get there in time. So which means I can only stay there for an hour, which isn't a bad thing as far as my diet goes, because I then, oh, somebody just left their Frappuccino. What is that? McAllister iced tea just on the side of the road. Anyway, then waste not, want not. I won't be that tempted to eat, if that makes sense, because these family cookouts go like 5 hours. Last night on the way home, there really was nowhere to eat. Melissa and Aaron were super hungry, so we went to Steak and Shake. Melissa was like I had asked her the night before to like really watch if I'm like trying to break my diet, and she was like, now be careful. There really was nothing at Steak and Shake that I could get other than like a salad with like nothing on it. But so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. But I'm not gonna, I want to stick to being a vegetarian. So I got a grilled cheese sandwich, and then I got a side order, a small cheese fries, and I know, it's horrible, but, and then a side order of onion rings. What was really interesting was that when we sat down, the guy came over and he was like, do you guys want anything to drink? Or what do you guys want to drink? And they were like, Coke, and it came to me, and I literally almost said root beer. I mean, it's been like 6 days now without a fountain pop or any kind of soda. And I was like, water. So I stuck to that, haven't done that, that was breaking my diet. Woke up today, my weight was like identical to what it was yesterday. So I didn't gain, I didn't lose, which I'm happy with, because but I can't continue to eat like this every day, or I will continue to gain it back, or I will gain it back. So today, I got up late today. I couldn't sleep last night, and it wasn't because I had nightmares or anything like that. I just couldn't sleep. The dogs kept on moving. They were driving me crazy. When you sleep with 3 dogs that sleep like in separate spots, and it's like PP always sleeps at the feet of like at the end of our bed. Boo is always like on me somewhere. Boo has to be on me. Well, wherever Tucker sleeps is kind of in accordance to where Boo sleeps, because Tucker won't sleep unless he's touching Boo. So if Boo moves, Tucker moves, and it's constant. I mean, it's sweet, but it's like they're constantly moving, and it was driving me crazy last night. So I slept in really late today. Alex finished 13 Reasons Why today. He's very emotional. He thought it was good, but he was like, it made him really reflect on some things. He said to me, he goes, I'm really sorry that you were bullied so much in high school, because he didn't have that experience. So we talked a little bit about that, and then he is watching now Best Friends from College or something. I don't know, it sounds kind of funny. But he was watching that while I was doing bills and uploading my videos. And so last night was really good. I have to tell you that this is kind of my year of taking risks. It's interesting. Like every year of my life seems to represent something. Oh my God, what just came out of that car? It's like a puff of smoke. Oh, she's got one of those vapor things. Every year of my life seems to represent something, and maybe this is my year of taking risks, swimming with the dolphins, going to this thing. I mean, I literally, I told Melissa and Aaron on the way home last night, I said, I don't think you guys have really any idea how afraid I was. I mean, I was terrified, right? And I just didn't feel like that at all. I actually felt a lot of peace and serenity. I didn't feel any negative energy there whatsoever. I didn't feel any foreboding. I felt a lot of forgiveness and remorse. but I didn't feel like any negative energy when I was out there. I just didn't. I wasn't afraid to even walk into the woods. I was kind of like, so you guys didn't see, if you watch this every day, like there were a lot of parts I cut out, so you didn't get to see like the actual investigations going on. And the reason why was because they had to have the lights out and stuff. But let me just tell you, I stood like in the sump room, like 4x4 room, where he would like keep the bodies and where the hoses and stuff like that. And I mean, there are well-known psychics that would never walk into this room. And I just was like, screw it, you know, like, I mean, what do I have to lose? I was not scared sitting in there. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't like if you put me in line to get on a roller coaster, or in a like cage to get a shark, okay, my heart would be racing, but I didn't feel that way. Felt very peaceful the whole evening. Aaron and I even like, you know, like walked around the building by ourselves, and like I felt very calm with that. I didn't feel terrified. So I don't know. I think maybe the more risks I take, the less afraid I am in the world. Maybe that's a learning experience to get from that. I think also it was interesting, like, going into it, because all of these, the story, the constant stories is negative energy, and, you know, negative spirits, and people have felt like their throats like being pressed on when they're swimming. And I will say this, okay? God love those people that live in that house. I don't know why they didn't want to. Melissa said she'd own that house all day long. Okay, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, I would never get in that pool. And you know what? And I just got to call it out for what it is. I think it's disrespectful. I mean, 20 people died in that pool. I don't know. I just haven't. I don't know. Like, I understand the whole ghost hunting thing, and I think it's interesting and stuff like that. And maybe it's because it's a newer, like, serial killer that happened in, like, the last 30 years. Or maybe it's because it hits close to home with me or something like that. But, like, it just was, like, some of it, like, when you took yourself out of the realm of this is just ghost hunting to the point where it was like, okay, these are gay men, like, have been strangled 20 feet from where we're sitting, or right here in this pool. Like, I mean, they could have been standing where I was. Like, when I would start thinking about it, and like, I almost kind of couldn't go there, if that makes sense. And really, like, when I was standing by the burn pile in the woods, we went back out there at 1:30 in the morning. Okay, this one right here who's terrified went into the woods with 3 other people. We met these 2 guys. I just want to say this. Everybody there last night was so nice. I mean, absolutely so nice, okay? And, everybody that set it up, they were so cool and so genuine, and they all knew that I was like terrified to go, so they would like check in with me. They'd be like, are you okay? Are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine. They were, you guys, I mean, everybody out there that was involved in this thing, if you're watching this, thank you so much. You're phenomenal. But there were 2 guys that we kind of linked onto at the beginning, and their names were Chris and Mike. If they're watching this, hey, you guys. And they were nobody that, like, this is where I just love how the world works, you know? It brings together people. The world brings together people that you wouldn't normally, like, associate with. And it wasn't because we're so different or that, anything like that. I mean, we're all just fucking human beings, you know? But, like, they were so funny and so down to earth, and we had such a good time with them. And they were, like, very, like, this Chris guy was, like, very protective of me. He was, like, and it was so funny because, like, when people call me Pete right off the bat, it almost feels like a fatherly thing to me, even though this guy was literally probably 20 years younger than me. And he was like, Pete, are you okay? You okay? Like, when we were in the woods. But these people got me out there walking in the woods at 1:30 in the morning to see the shadow figure. They're supposed to rush you. We didn't say anything. And then we're standing, like, Melissa really wanted to see the burn pile because she didn't go down there the first time. Well, you can't see the burn pile. It's, like, overgrown now, right? And the burn pile is where her Baumeister burned all these bodies. And the guy that showed us said it was literally from, like, here all the way up to this tree. It was just bones for days, right? They found 5,800 bones. Like, I was standing out there, and it's so sad. Like, it's just the sadness of it all, you know? And they have, like, 20 bodies that have never been identified, and nobody has, like, come forward and said my son was missing. And I don't know. It's just, like, just so many lives lost, you know? And there's probably, I mean, I could get really teary-eyed, and there's probably so much more than that, but, like, I didn't feel, it's really weird, you guys, like, I so believed in my cross and my St. Christopher medal and that black tourmaline or whatever it was called before I went, and I prayed and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, I felt so peaceful at that thing. I didn't feel any sadness. They constantly were checking. Now, there was a moment when I was in the sump pump room that I felt like somebody hit me on my side and I bent over. And I have like a scratch mark on my back. Melissa took a picture of it. And I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, I have to leave this room, and I got out. But other than that, like, it was totally normal. And I don't feel sick today. I feel completely fine. So yeah, it was a cool experience. I mean, it's interesting to me why people would buy that house. I will just say that. Like, that's, oh my God, this Jeep Cherokee is gorgeous. This must be like the 2018. I don't know why. Is it like it's like a Range Rover mix or something? I don't know why anybody would buy that house. And I think they may be a little bit more interested in all of it than they really play it off to be, if that makes sense. But they do not need the money. Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there right now. The people that own the house do not need the money. And to be as just like, he gave us a 3-hour tour. His family was in the house upstairs watching TV. It's like, you know, like, to give up that time just so that we could come there, I just think is crazy, you know. So, that woman just like passed me by and she like looked like this and she was like, I wonder if it's somebody that watches my videos. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Going to my mother-in-law's for dinner, and then I will be on my way to my meeting. So I love you guys, and I will be back in just a little while. Hello. Okay. All these cords. Went to my meeting. And then I ran home real quick. I wanted to brush my teeth. My teeth are like driving me crazy. Alex is watching The Real Housewives of the OC. So I was like, I'm gonna go with Tanya to the kennel, help her put the dogs out, and then listen to my audiobook and come home and go to bed a little bit early because I have some things I have to do tomorrow from 12 to 2. 12:30 to 2:30. So I went over to my mother-in-law's house, and my brother-in-law and his wife were there, Carlos and Liliana, and their 2 sons, Carlitos and Sebastian. Sebastian is my godson, and we had a good time. They were cooking out. They're having a barbecue, and Alex's grandma was there too. It was just us, and I was kind of stressed because I'm like, here I am a week into this whole diet thing, and it's like I've had all these situations that I've been like trying to eat healthy, and it's hard, you know, and plus I don't want to eat after 8 o'clock, you know, whatever. Anyway, Alex drove separately, and I didn't know this, but he brought like stuff to make a salad, and he made a salad and just ate the grilled chicken. But I'm like, okay, so typically, like, this is kind of like a Venezuelan cookout. They don't do like potato salad, all that kind of stuff. There's no like salad, not like that would have been healthy for me anyway. But they don't do all that kind of stuff. They typically just do like meat, and there might be like a lot of different kind of meat, and there might be like one like a side thing, but like very rarely. And then you dip the meat in what's called wasikaca. I think it's how you pronounce wasikaca is how you pronounce it. It's like guacamole, but not. It's like a creamier guacamole. I love it. And so anyway, we got there, and his mom was like, "Oh, I made yuca for you," and I love yuca. It's like potatoes, kind of, but it's more of a root. So I had she had made some homemade salsa, not to dip like chips in, but just to like put in with they make like salsa, but it's like thicker, and they make it just to like eat as like a salad. So it's basically like just like tomatoes and celery and stuff. So I had some salsa, and then I had like 2.5, but they were like cut in half, but like 2.5 of these like yuca that were like, but they were cooked in butter, which probably wasn't real healthy for me. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Stuck to my diet. I had like 2.5 yuca, and I was like completely full. I was like, oh my God. And then I looked them up online because I wanted to see what their calories were, and they're like 330 calories per cup of yuca. It's like twice as like fattening as it's like twice as fattening as a potato. So, but they are so delicious. But I stuck to my vegetarian diet. So 6 days on my vegetarian diet. I feel great. I feel full of energy. My head isn't hurting. I don't know. It's just like, this has been a really good thing for me. I think the hardest thing for me is that like whenever I'm on a diet, especially like I'm talking about what is today? Day 6, and tomorrow is day 7. It's like, I want to instantly notice that the weight is gone, and I'm just not going to, you know, it's going to be a slow road. It's not going to happen overnight, and I need to be patient with myself and realize that. And, it's hard, you know, it's really hard because I want to like, you know, I started this at 245 and I want to be, you know, 180, 170. Like, I don't want to be 180. I want to be 165, 170. And it's just, I don't even know how realistic that is. I don't know how it's going to happen, but like, that's just my impulsivity happening and wanting it now. And, you know, but if I did that, you know, one of the things I've never talked about on here is that one of my biggest fears about losing weight a lot of times is that, I have seen so many people that have horrific stretch marks, and I have been a yo-yo dieter like my entire life, and I feel extremely blessed that at 45 years of age and up and down, I think part of it is because I drink so much water and I lotion. I literally lotion from head to toe every day. Every day after I get out of the shower, I lotion from head to toe. I'm like real weird about it. And if you want to know what lotion I've used for millions and millions of years, I use the Aveeno lotion. I use lavender forever, but Alex just bought he keeps on buying these kits from Costco that are just like the regular Aveeno oatmeal lotion. I swear by Aveeno lotion. But I don't know if it's because of that or the water that I drink, or if it's just good genes or good genetics or what, but like, I literally, on my side, I have one stretch mark that is like that big, and that's it. I have no other stretch marks on my entire body. I really have no idea how I've been so, you know, blessed, or how I've been so lucky, but I'm thankful for it. I really, really feel for people that have horrific stretch marks. When I worked in treatment back in the day, and I would see these kids, you know, these poor boys that had stretch marks, like, you know, literally like they had been like heavy kids, and then like, you know, like 8th grade, 9th grade, they like shot up and went from like, and this was not because they were fat, it was because, you know, they like grew up, and they went from like being 5'2", 5'3" to being like 6 foot in like literally a year. And they would literally just from like their chest to like their or to their waist just have streams of stretch marks. And I just felt so bad for them, you know. And I've also had a couple of my friends that are women, I'm sure some of you relate to this out there, that like, I have a friend of mine who, with her baby, her first child, she got no stretch marks whatsoever. Her second child, literally, she, like, I mean, within her first month and a half, she was like, with her first month, she was showing. By the end of the second month, she was like big, and like by the third month, she had dropped. And was huge the rest of her pregnancy. And after that, she has had tons and tons of hanging skin and horrible stretch marks. And it just, you know, like would really upset her, because she would say, even if I went and got plastic surgery and I had the, you know, skin taken off, she was like, I would still have horrible stretch marks. And, you know, I know a lot of people use like cocoa butter and they think that helps and whatever, but only to some extent do I think it helps. So anyway, I feel, what are we talking, stretch marks? I just feel very blessed about it, and it's all very superficial. But when you're standing in front of the mirror and you're fat, or you're too skinny, or you have stretch marks, or whatever the physical defect is that you see in yourself, not that somebody else sees it, not that it matters, not that it's superficial, but when you see it, it's so, like, it's me standing in front of the mirror naked, the first thing I see is how fat I am. And it's so hard, you know. And I think that, like, I think that's why I always constantly want to work on it, because I never want to be, for me, okay, just for me, I can only speak of myself. Once I get to the point of like accepting that, then I'm also accepting the fact that I'm not happy with where I'm at in my life. And, you know, like, that makes me sad, especially, you know, it's not to me at 45 about just being heavy from a lookism point of view. It's also from a health point of view. You know, I get winded very quickly. You know, the idea of working out terrifies me, partly because I don't know that I haven't done it in so long. So, like, to do any kind of cardio, I'd be like, huffing and puffing. But also, like, I don't want to walk into a gym and have other people look at me like, look at that fat. You know, it's all of that. I know that people don't really care, and I know that, whatever, you know, but it's hard, you know, all of it's hard. So I'm proud of myself for sticking to this for 6 days so far, and I'm hoping that at some point I won't say sticking to it for this long, that it'll just be who I am, you know? That's where I want to get with acceptance, is that I'm constantly growing and working. And I think the fact that in the first week I was put up to some challenges of how to be a vegetarian, which this is so simple to a lot of people out there. I really was thinking about this today. Like, I can't imagine if you were vegan what you would do, because it was like, okay, well, I could have this yucca, but it's been cooked in butter. No, can't have that. You know, or like salads. A lot of these salads already have the cheese mixed into them, or like the black, you know, it's just like, what do, you know? I don't know, and if I get there and that's the decision that I make, I think I'll figure that out. So anyway, went to my mother-in-law's and saw my nephews. They were so adorable. And Sebastian is like talking now, but he does that talking where he's like, da, 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 but you don't understand anything that he's saying. He's a year and 7 months old. He's so cute. Okay, if it's still up, you can go to my Snapchat. Oh, I put a picture on Instagram. You can go see a picture on Instagram of my nephews with me. T.O. Peter. And I got to talk to my mother-in-law for a while, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, who I adore. And Carlitos, my nephew, who will be 5 in December, he is a talker too, but his English is so good. And he's bilingual. He speaks English and Spanish. And it's weird with these kids that like learn both languages at the same time. It's like, well, what's your first language? You know, I mean, he speaks both of them fluently. Like, I mean, he talks to me and then he translates for his mom at 4.5. I mean, it's so adorable, right? And it just is like, shows like he's just so smart. But then I also feel like if he can learn it at 4.5, what's my excuse? You know, and basically he's in an immersion program. But they are really, really good with him. Like they don't always just like if I'm talking to him, like, and he doesn't understand something, he'll look at his mom and she's like in English, like she looks at him and like forces him to speak English, and he'll like ask me like, what, I don't know what that means, or what's the word for that, or whatever. So she's like forcing him to learn English because she wants him to be able to, you know, his English is better than theirs is. So, but he does speak Spanglish, which is cute, where he'll like, you know, be like saying something and then like he'll throw in a Spanish word because he doesn't know the English word for it, or vice versa. It's really cute. And he's just like, they are such great parents, and he's such a polite kid. I mean, he's still a kid, he's rowdy and all that kind of stuff, but like, he's very respectful, and he's so good with his little brother. He holds his hand when they're like walking around the lake, make sure nothing, he's so protective of him. It's so cute, you know, I love that. So, I had a good evening. Then I went to my meeting. I had a great meeting tonight, and got to see my sponsor and some of my friends, and stood outside afterwards for a little bit, and that was about it. And, yes. And now I'm going to pick up Tanya. We are not getting a fountain Coke. Sherry has one, and I brought a bottle of water. And we're going to go to the kennel. So I will talk to you guys in just a little bit. Bye. Hello. All right. So I dropped Tanya off, drove around, listened to my audiobook for a while. And now I'm driving home. It's late. It's like 3:30. It's really interesting, like between 12 and 1, my stomach always like really, really hurts. Like I feel like I'm gonna start like vomiting. It's just been like this last week since I've been doing this vegetarian diet. I don't know, I talked to a vegetarian friend of mine, he's like, I don't think that's normal, you need to talk to your doctor. And he's like, but have you given anything else up? I was like, I've greatly reduced my caffeine intake, and I also stopped drinking soda. And he was like, well, that could be it. He was like, you know, your body goes through detox with soda. You like, did you not realize that? And I was like, yeah, I realize that. But I just don't think that that's it. I guess I maybe drank more soda than I think I do. I don't know. But like, it's always between like 12 and 1 or 11 and 1. Like my stomach really hurts. And then I'm fine. After I'm shaky like for like an hour or two, and then like after that I'm fine. Like I feel fine now. But there was a period where I had to like sit in the parking lot because it just was like, I don't feel very well. So I don't know. Maybe it's me being hungry, because I typically eat between, you know, that time. I mean, I always eat late and I always eat fast food. So I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. It's like such a fallish night. Like it's been so fall, like autumn weather, autumn, spring, and winter. But anyway, did you guys know that Barbra Streisand song, What Are You Doing for the Rest of Your Life? I don't know why that just made me think of that, but I love that song. And I'm not a big Barbra Streisand fan. I'm like ready for fall, but I'm not ready for summer to be over. Does that make sense? Like, if Alex and I could go to like Miami like once a month and just be by the beach, I think I could totally handle it. But it's like once summer is over, it's just over. Like, especially like, I don't know, like if you live on the West Coast or if you live in Florida, it's probably different for you. But like in Indianapolis, like once it starts getting cooler, it's like the beginning. Like, you know, like when you have that like last really nice day in early or mid-October, like it's called, they call it, oh shoot, what, oh no, I was gonna say Harvest Moon, like the Neil Young song, that's not what it is. What do they call it? Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. In October, when it's like super warm, it's like 85 degrees. It's called something, I can't remember what it's called, damn it. Anyway, I'll think of it in a second. But you know, you'll have like a day or two in October where it's like 80, 85, but then it like goes down. Like, I mean, we've literally had years in Indiana where it's like 85, 87, and then like 2 days later it's snowing. It's crazy. And I think it was 2 Halloweens ago that it did snow on Halloween. When I was growing up as a kid, it was always freezing on Halloween. It was always really, really cold. I can remember, like, God, Halloween was so great. I'm so ready for Halloween. We always do these haunted houses in our garage. We would, like, use... For some reason, our garage was always the one that got picked. I don't know why. My mom just didn't care. I've told this story on here before, but, like, all the neighborhood kids would, like, for, like, the month of October, we would, like, start working on our haunted house that we would have in my garage. And then, like... I mean, these were extensive, like, we would have, like, you know, the hanging, like, spiders, but just, like, tons of them, and then we would have, like, mazes of crepe paper, and, like, I remember my, like, the neighbor across the street, who was, like, really good friends with my mom, she was an interior decorator, and somehow she could get, like, tons and tons of crepe paper for, like, really cheap, like, rolls of it, and so we would use that, and we would just have streamers and streaming, just, like, mazes of, like, you couldn't even see in front of you, of crepe paper, and I remember even when we moved, you could see it, that's, like, on the ceiling of the garage, there was, like, crepe paper still taped there. That, of course, probably pissed my mother off. But anyway, I can't wait till somebody writes below this video what that October day is called, because I cannot remember that. I can't believe I can't remember it. I don't think it's called something October. I think it's called, like, something fall, like... October. It's, what is it called? Anyway, but we would, I can remember, like, you know, of course, October 1st, I get all my Halloween books out. This is when I was a kid, you know, and had a pumpkin in my room, like plastic pumpkins out, and I was, like, you know, completely Halloweened out on October 1st, and getting my costume ready, and we never bought costumes. We always made costumes, and they were elaborate, and, like, one year I was, like, a hobo. I don't even know, is that, like, politically correct to say hobo? One year I was a hobo, and I had the greatest costume. My dad would always help me make costumes. A lot of years I was like a patient or a doctor because my dad had scrubs and stuff. And, you know, of course with blood, that was always, you know. And then I was a witch one year. And I always think about that part in, like, Roseanne when DJ wants to be a witch and Dan wants him to be a warlock. Like, my dad never had issues with that. Like, I was like, no, I'm going as a witch. And I did. I had a pointed hat and everything. And a broomstick and all that, so. What other costumes did I go as? Alex, when I first met him, he and his friend Demi like made these elaborate costumes, but they were always something like sexy. Like the sexy was always in the word. So it'd be like, you know, people from the dark Netherlands iced over and frozen to death, but sexy. But like they would be like so serious about it. They'd be like, no, like we're going as like, imagine like this sexy like person that had escaped like the underground, and they like, you know, wear like black like everything, you know, like skin tight, but then they're like frozen to death because they like, I'm like, what? Like makes no sense. The pictures are hilarious, but it made sense to them. And one year Alex and I wanted to go as twins, so it was like fine. So we went as twin lumberjacks, and we wore like Daisy Dukes, like real short jean shorts with like these red and black plaid flannel shirts, unbuttoned real low, and then we had little chainsaws. He said, never again, that's queer, we're not doing that. He did not care for it. They were cute though. I've gone as a hippie about 1,000 times because I have so much stuff from when I was a hippie. And I know this is probably really hard to believe, but back in the day, I had this like suede vest, and about here it has fringe on it that goes down to like the knees, and it has all these like love beads on it, like where the fringe is, like going from like here up. It sounds corny as shit, but it's super sexy. And back in the day, can you believe this? This is literally when I was like 150 running every day. I was real in shape and, you know, ate really well, but like drank tons and smoked so much weed and ate pills when I was a hippie back in the day. And I had real long hair that I wore back in a ponytail or like a bun, like a man bun. I know I cannot stand man buns today, but I don't like the man buns that sit on top of your head. If you have really long hair, like men's nice long hair, and you like pull it back. There's a picture of my Instagram. Somebody found it recently and said something about it because I had like posted like a Throwback Thursday when I had long hair. But that picture, my hair got about 6 inches longer than that. My hair was really long. It was like down, it was like past my breast line. It was like down to here. And I would literally get out of the shower and either like just comb it down the middle and tuck it behind my ears, or I would just like pull it back in a ponytail, or I wore it in a braid a lot. I was a hippie. People find it hard to believe, and I do believe that hippie is like, to be a hippie is a state, it's a, like hippie is a state of mind. I don't think it's how you dress. But back then I would wear like, to shows, I would wear like to Grateful Dead shows and stuff, I would wear like cut off jean shorts and like sandals and like that vest, and that's it. That's all I would wear, no shirt. Today I would never. I hardly even want to go to the beach or the pool. Those like real loud shirts, you know what I'm talking about? Those like beatnik hippie shirts. Not tie-dye, but I had tie-dye shirts too, tons of them. I still do. I have a tie-dye shirt from the last Dead show that I got. It's in my closet. I never wear it because it hardly fits, obviously. But I actually have an original it was my mom's. It's extra small. I don't know what to do with it. The woman that owns Waterpool Vintage told me she'd buy it from me, and then I saw a shirt like this large on eBay for like $1,400. But I have a Dylan and the Dead t-shirt from Chicago at Ravinia. That was my mom's. My mother got me into all that stuff. My my dad has good music taste, but my dad's music taste when I was growing up was very like Waylon Jennings, lots of Willie Nelson, very much country, what my mom would call country western. And I loved it. And you know what's interesting is like when I was growing up, I thought it was kind of twangy. I'd be like, oh, this twangy music. But like today, I love it. Like my dad listened to like Tom T. Hall. He's not country. I mean, he's country, but he's not really country western. He's more of like a storyteller country. But my dad listened to a lot of like Arlo Guthrie. My dad actually was like, I remember my dad, like when the Rumors album came out by Fleetwood Mac, my dad like bought it for everybody. He like went and bought it and gave it to a bunch of people because he loved it so much. And music has just been like a constant in my life. It was interesting because when I got in the car from getting my water, I plugged in my phone and I didn't know that it like immediately just started playing my iTunes, and it played Just Like Heaven by The Cure, which was like my favorite song in high school. Well, actually, Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order was probably my favorite song, but The Cure, The Cure, Just Like Heaven, Boys Don't Cry. What else? I mean, I loved all of The Cure. Standing on a Beach, Why Can't I Be You? What's the song? Friday I'm in Love, Mint Car. I love all those songs. Friday I'm in Love came after, but I think it's one of my favorite. I think that probably would be one of my favorite songs. I don't know why. And then the Smiths. Oh my God, I was diehard the Smiths in high school. It's so interesting because so many people on a regular basis in my comment sections tell me I look like Morrissey, which I don't think I look shit like Morrissey, and I don't even know that I think that's a compliment. But I love. If you had told me that in high school, I would have been like, oh, swoon, I love Morrissey. And oh my God, This Charming Man, Louder Than Bombs, Ask. I loved the song Ask in high school, and Girlfriend in a Coma. Oh my God, that was one of my all-time favorite songs. My favorite, like, and Asleep. I loved Asleep too. Sing me to sleep. But anyway, my Smith songs that I love have changed over time, and they're not exactly the same ones that I liked back then. Like, I don't really care for Ask or Girlfriend in a Coma today, but like, and like, okay, I never liked this song, The Boy with a Horn in His Side. Is that what it's called? Thorn in His Side. Horn. But I never liked that song in high school, but it's like one of my favorite songs now. And also, Big Mouth Strikes Again. Like, I love that song, and that was not one of my favorite songs in high school at all. Like, I couldn't stand it. And I loved Gene Loves Jezebel, Postcards from Paradise. I loved that song. Lightning Seeds, Pure. I can't find that anywhere on iTunes or anywhere. If anybody has a CD of that, please let me know and send it to me. Make a copy and send it to me. I would die. The Lightning Seeds, Pure and Simple every time. Dun, 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 dun. And R.E.M. and 10,000 Maniacs, Natalie Merchant, loved them. Michael Stipe from R.E.M., loved him. Oh, I had such a crush on him. And let's see what else. Sex Pistols, Sonic Youth. Why can't I think? Jesus and Mary Chain that sing Taste of Cindy. Oh my God, Crack of Dawn, Cindy's Moving On. Love that song. Public Image Limited, I love them. Pill, we call them Public Image Limited. Who else did I listen to in high school? Susie and the Banshees. Lots of Stevie Nicks, which is interesting because like Stevie has been like my mainstay. Like, I think that's why she's my favorite. She's been like my mainstay from like 6th grade all the way on. I've listened to Stevie. I love Stevie. And I love Fleetwood Mac too, but I have to say I'm definitely more of a Stevie Nicks and a Fleetwood Mac fan. And people are like, what's the difference? There is a difference, okay? Because Stevie can stand on her. I mean, she's very much the Beyonce, you know, like, there would be no Destiny's Child without Beyonce, and I don't care what you say, and there would be no Fleetwood Mac without Stevie. They've tried, it doesn't work. So anyway, sorry, Christine. But, God, who else did I love in high school? I would get like randoms that I would really like one song or something of theirs. I was also a real big Janet Jackson fan in high school. That I know that that's kind of crazy, but like her earlier stuff I really liked. But I always listened to a lot of folk. I always listened to like Arlo Guthrie, Joan Baez, Pete Seeger, Bob Seger. God, diehard Bob Seger fan. Leonard Skinner, I love Leonard Skinner. Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker Band. I mean, I have just grown up. I have been so blessed to grow up around such great music, and it's so interesting because my cousin Caroline and I, and her parents are not music, like, they weren't into music at all. And she's like, "How do you know this stuff?" I was like, "Caroline, my God, like, I mean, you know, at my mom's house, there just always was music blasting, always. Thelma Houston, Don't Leave Me This Way, the disco. I mean, that whole 70s disco thing, my mother loved it. I can remember her just dancing with her hair. She had real long hair, parted down the middle, blonde, and just, you know, in halter tops and jeans and wet shoes, just drinking martinis, dancing to Thelma Houston, Don't Leave Me This Way, in our library with her friends, and just, you know, I remember she had this necklace, and it was like this metal bar, and then it had like this like gold metal, and then it had like just this like it was a seashell, but like a sand dollar, but it was like in gold. And I remember she's always wore that and just like danced with her hair. And I always thought she was so gorgeous. And I always wanted to write this book called The Pretty Drinker about my mom, because for my mom, even though I knew that she was like such an alcoholic, because I suffered the consequences of it. You know, like, I mean, after all the friends left, it went from a party being at 10 to all of the women having to go home to their husbands and make dinner for their kids. And then, you know, after that, if my mom had been drinking all day long, it was like a 10 level of fun and excitement to like a 2 of my mom being drunk and sad. And it was hard growing up in that, you know, and she knew that, and she knew that it was hard for me, you know, and she would put dinner on the table, and she just did the best that she could. And, you know, then the next day she'd be very, very remorseful about it, because my mother wasn't a blackout drinker, so she was very conscious of like what happened. And, you know, I think she knew that it wasn't fun for me at times, and she would pass out. Like, my mom passed out a lot, and but she would make it to her bed and pass out. And there were a couple times that I would be at a friend's house and I would come home and I couldn't get in the house. This was when I was like probably 6th to 8th grade, and I was very protective of my mother from not letting her know the consequences I suffered as a result of her drinking. Not until later did I really tell her some of the things that I went through. This is such a funny story, I don't know why I'm telling this, but I used to wear penny loafers all the time, like with shorts. I mean, they were so scuffed up. I wore them in the woods. I wore them everywhere. I don't know why. I just was obsessed with penny loafers. Like, they were so beat up, you know, and I would wear them with jeans rolled up. Like, I was very like that rockabilly look, but with pink penny loafers. I was like obsessed with them. I just kind of remember that now with the penny loafers. I don't know. But I remember my mom's bed like sat back in this like area, it like where the wall would go like this, but then there was an area where the like was made for the bed with this window. She had it. They built their house, so she had it made so there was a window right behind her when she slept. So she'd just crank out the window and then she could hear all the sounds, you know. And so the wall, like if she was like sleeping like this, the wall jutted out over here, like right next to her, and I couldn't get in the house. And I don't even, to be honest with you, it was like 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and I called her like an hour before and said, I'm gonna come home in an hour, and she was like, okay. And I could tell that she'd been drinking, but I didn't like, this is what's so weird, is that my mother has been gone almost 10 years, and like I still feel bad telling these stories, because I feel like I don't want to give like a misrepresentation of my mom, and I was so protective of her. And I think that that's one of the hardest things about growing up in an alcoholic home, is that it's such just a dichotomy, because you love your parents so much, you really, really do, you love them so much, but at the same time you live in fear and you live in secrecy, because you can't tell anybody. I couldn't go to school and tell somebody. I knew somebody would do something about it. I couldn't tell my friends. They had no idea, you know. A couple of my friends would come over, and I think like it wasn't so much in how my friends would treat me, it was in how their parents would treat me. And I think in retrospect, going back, especially my friend Brian, like I think like I was so close with his family, and when they moved away, I went and visited them, and you know, like his mom was so nice to me, and his dad was so nice to me, and I think like he must have come home and just would say things like Peter's mom was just drunk, you know, and because they, I think, very much acted as a second family for me. But this one time I came home from his house, and it was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and it was pitch black, and I couldn't get in the house, and we had like this key hidden behind the house. Now, my house backed up to a woods, okay? So it was spooky to be out. Now, y'all know from the vlog yesterday, I'm not into all that. It was spooky to be out there. Well, like, the key was, like, underneath the staircase in the woods going up to this tree house that my dad had built me. So I had to, like, I couldn't get in. I knocked on the door, like, I don't remember, like, for a half an hour. I'm screaming up, and the windows are open. She's not coming. She's not coming. No, the dog is barking inside, and she's not coming. And I'm, like, terrified. Like, I was worried that something was wrong with her. And so I'm in the woods, and I'm looking for this key, and this is before cell phone time, right? So we don't have, like, cell phones that we can look, and I'm, like, digging around in the dirt, okay? This is, like, right next to a creek, in the pitch black, in the woods. I'm, like, 11 years old at the time, probably. 12 maybe, 11 or 12, and I'm like in the woods, and I'm like halfway in, so I'm probably like a block into the woods, if that makes sense, like distance wise, where this like freestanding tree house is, and I'm like digging in the mud looking for this key, and I get this key, and I go open it and get it in the back door. Well, the back door led into the garage, but then there was a door in from the garage inside the house, and then from that house, or that door, there like was a mud room with a bolt lock door after that. So I got into the mud room, but then the other door to the mud room was bolted locked. And I don't remember how I got in there. I have no clue to this day, but somehow I got through that bolt door. I don't know if I kicked it in. I don't know what I did, but I remember by that point, it had been like an hour and a half, and I was so like scared that she was dead inside. And I like remember running in, and my dog was running everywhere. We had this wire-haired fox terrier, and he was running everywhere. And I thought, God, is something wrong with her? And I ran upstairs to the bedroom, and you know, she was asleep, and she was asleep in bed in her nightgown, asleep in bed. And I remember like the first thing was when I came in, it reeked of cigarette smoke. And like I looked next to her, like she would keep her ashtray like on the table next to her, this chair with an ottoman that she sat on and watched TV that was like away from the TV or from the bed. And I looked, and a cigarette had like burnt all the way up to the butt, and I can remember thinking she didn't even know that the cigarette was burning when she went over. I mean, people die this way, you know? And I went over, and I was like, Mom. And I remember standing over her, and I had the penny loafers were about to play a part in this story. And I was like, Mom. I was like, Mom, and I like shook her, and she like was like, Peter, and she like looked up at me, and I thought she was dead. And I will never forget, I stood back and I kicked that fucking wall as hard as I could, and I said, I am so tired of this. And I like walked into the other room, and I remember I just bawled my eyes to sleep. You know, those are the kind of stories that I never told my mom. I never, you know, she got sober, and that was enough for me. And if you're a parent out there that drinks or engages in substances, just get sober for your kid. It's enough. You know, I never needed to tell my mom. Like, this brings a lot of emotion back for me telling this story, you know, on here. And maybe it's cathartic for me and I need to talk about it. I don't know, you know. But I never told her that because I didn't want her to feel worse. She felt really bad anyway, you know. She would show up to concerts of mine at school, having been drinking, and my mom could be embarrassing at times, and people would let her know that, and I didn't, and that's important to say, and people would let her know that, and I didn't want to be the person that let her know that. I didn't want to be somebody that hurt her more than she had already been hurt in her life, you know? And I don't know how at 11 years old I knew that. I just did. And I don't think that makes me anything special. I think that's growing up in an alcoholic home. I really do. I think if I asked 100 children of alcoholics, they would say the exact same thing. You live in total secrecy. You know, the other thing is that I think we think our parents are representative of us. So if my parents are drunk, you know, you see these TV shows, like I'm watching Riverdale, you know, and Jughead's dad is an alcoholic on there, and, you know, it's like, the shame that you can see that he feels because he wants his dad sober so bad is exactly how I felt as a kid. Like, he captured that so well, and I haven't finished the season, so don't ruin it for me, but, like, I can remember, like, one Christmas, like, my mom and I took a walk, and every Christmas Eve we would take a walk after everybody left. and it was real icy, and she couldn't even walk, and she was slurring, and I just was like, this is like, and I was older when this happened. I was like probably 17, 16, and I was drinking myself, and I came back, and I put her to bed. I was so pissed, and I started cleaning up, because like the house hadn't been cleaned up. The table was still set, all that kind of stuff. I started drinking all this wine out of these glasses, and then I just was done, and I came in, and I just started. There were two separate incidences of when I like did this. One, I drank and just got drunk, but the other one, I just started pouring out all the alcohol, and she came down and was pissed. I mean, she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, we're done." She's like, "That's for tomorrow." I go, "We're done." I was like pissed, and I like poured everything out that we had, not just the wine glasses on the table. I poured it out, like all the wine, everything, gin, whatever was there. I don't know what was there, but everything. I poured it out. I was done. I was like, no more. But imagine that every Christmas day, your mom's hungover. You know, one of the worst things for me was I was always worried about my mom's safety. And so when I was with my dad for like the weekend or like a Wednesday night, she would, and my dad was very protective of me not seeing some of that or not knowing some of the things that happened. I found out later about a really bad incident that happened, and I'm not going to tell that. There's some things I just don't need to tell. There's, you know, and I'm not keeping secrets. That's not what it's about. There's just some things that like, you know, alcohol makes people do things they would not normally do, and I don't care if people don't believe that. You know, people say alcohol makes you more the person that you were. No, I think that's total bullshit. I think alcohol makes you do things you would never in a million years do if you had any kind of common sense. And my mother acted a fool one time on her 40th birthday, and she really hurt one of her good friends, and my dad in the same fell swoop. Just with words, literally just with words. And I found that out later from my mom, actually. She told me, and then I asked my dad when my mom was gone. He was like, "Yeah, but this is how it went on my level." And what was I gonna say before that though? But oh, this is what I was gonna say. You know, I would go to my dad's house, and I would stay with my dad. And oh my God, this is almost done. Anyway, I was just going to say I would stay with my dad, and I would call my mom, and she would be so wasted drunk, and the next day she wouldn't remember it, and she would just be so apologetic for it. She'd be like, "Honey, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have lied to you. I have been drinking. I'm really sorry." But it's hard growing up in an alcoholic home. Her getting sober just took it all away from me. It was the easiest way to forgive my mother. I love her dearly, and you know, she gave me her sobriety, and she gave us a life together. So get sober for your kids. My battery's gonna die. My camera's about to go out. I didn't realize I've been talking for half an hour. I love you guys so much. I will be back tomorrow. I'm sorry to just kind of end that story right on that, but I literally have 15 seconds left, and my battery is on yellow, dead. So I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.